It's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. As you can see, I got a very special guest with me. This is the Toro Multiforce, and this is a GCI Turf MowDown ShowDown. Now, if you're new to the channel, be sure and like, subscribe, and share it. Tell all your buddies. We got a real unique opportunity. We have 14 of the biggest, baddest stand-on mowers that are made here in America. We're going to go through a list of categories and give each machine a score 1 to 10. This is not a competition style review. It is a point system style review. And at the end of the day, I'm doing this to help you figure out which machine or what mower is best for your business. This is not a paid promotion. None of these manufacturers are paying me a dime to do this. I'm doing it on my own time, on my own dime. Please be respectful in the comments. I realize that there are lemons everywhere. You know, you could buy something and have a bad experience with it, leave a bad taste in your mouth. I don't mind constructive criticism, but I want you to look at it this way. American hands build these machines. American moms and dads, American families. These companies employ Americans. Something you say could potentially affect that in a negative way. I know that's kind of an odd way of looking at it, but it's my way of looking at it. I ask that you be respectful in the comments. So we're typically out here in the middle of the yard, but it's a little cloudy right now, but most all day it's been blistering hot, and when my camera sets out in the heat, it cuts off kind of often. So I pull the machine over here in the shade to do it so I can do a continuous film on this. So I like to start these off with my one word. I've actually mowed my turf here, my bluegrass back there, my neighbors and my father-in-law's, and you know, while it's fresh on my mind, I like to give you one word on my take on the machine. I think my one word for this Toro Multiforce, it wasn't hard to come up with this. The word is versatility. Now, you know I'm a big fan of having one machine to do multiple things. You've heard me say that quite often about the Ventrac, how you got one tractor and you got just a whole plethora of different attachments that you can do any and every job under the sun. Well, here is a stand-on mower that is very similar to that. Now, Pete, that's not fair. That's not fair to the other manufacturers that you bring a mower in here that does all this other stuff other than mow grass. Well, I will completely disagree with you, and this is why. All these other manufacturers have the exact same opportunity to do this to their particular mower. Whether they choose to or not, that's their business. I think the ingenuity right here is absolutely phenomenal. It's a lawnmower. It's a stand-on mower that you can cut grass with whenever you want to, and it actually does some other things as well. Now, the review is not on the other things that it does, okay? That just kind of comes along with the machine. The review is based on the exact same categories that we reviewed all the other mowers on. So I've got the Toro website pulled up, and I'm going to go right down the list and tell you all the available attachments for this mower. Multiforce power broom, Multiforce leaf plow, Multiforce snow blower, Multiforce snow thrower, Multiforce ProForce debris blower, Multiforce aerator, Multiforce mulch dump, and a Multiforce dethatcher. So now you know where my one word comes from, versatility. This particular mower is just way more than a mower. Like I said, we're going to do the full review on the mower itself, but I did want to make sure that you knew that this machine existed, that you can have a mower and use it for mowing season and then take the same machine and do multiple other jobs with it as well. So let's get into the first category, bad to the bone. That is the aesthetics of the machine, how it looks. You know, I'm the muscle car, gearhead, horsepower kind of guy. When I look at a machine, I kind of look at it in that sense. So, yeah, the machine to me is not all that aesthetically pleasing from that aspect. If you like kind of a sleek looking machine, this would be the way to go. It just doesn't have that I'm gonna get off the trailer and rip your head off look. It doesn't have that tough kind of look that I prefer. And again, you don't spend your money on equipment based on how it looks, okay? You spend your money on equipment based on how it performs and how it makes money in your business. I just thought the aesthetics category would just be a cool addition to the review. So as far as the way the thing looks, you know, in the context of, you know, the muscle car tough look, I got to give it a 8. So next category, build quality. You know, these machines are made in America, so for the most part, it's been my experience that Americans take a lot of pride in what they do. And so you'll find this with this machine, along with all the machines, that the build quality is very, very good. One thing I do see on this machine is a lot of the nuts are nylon nuts, meaning when you screw the nut on, it's got the little nylon washer built into the nut so it locks on. The welds, I can see, looks to be some of them are done with a robot, and then I can tell some of them are done with human hands. So the frame is a, what's that, the frame looks to be like a 1x3 square tubing. The build quality is really good on this, and like I said, you're gonna find that across the board. Build quality, I gotta give it a 9. Next category is the toolbox, and we're gonna talk about ease of maintenance, and that's basic maintenance, oil change, the mower deck, belt, and we'll look at hydraulics and battery. Now on the hydraulic system, you know, if it's too complex, we typically take it to a dealer and let them handle it. But we'll just take a look at that and see where we're at with this machine. When I change a belt on a deck, I do like to drop the deck all the way down so I got good access to it, and ooh, I really like that. The way they just pop off, that is super nice. Now these are all one-off takes, meaning I did not get instruction from the dealer on exactly how to change the belt. I wanted to do this, you know, one-off fashion so that I can actually see just how easy it is. Of course, if they tell me, then it takes all the investigation out of it. But here's what I see. You would take the pressure off right here, and it does have a slot where you can put a drive in it, and then you can take the belt off of this pulley like that. See, I got this up right here off that one pulley, and then it just fishes out. So actually that's quite easy to change. Let's look at the oil filter, which is right here in the front of the motor, and there's not much of a drain tube. That stinks. I mean, it's very, very little drain tube. So yeah, you can get to the oil filter very, very easily, but you can see the drain tube right here. There's very little of it. That might be about 6 inches long at the most. I really think these manufacturers need to put a longer drain tube on these engine blocks to make it more convenient to change the oil. Of course, you can probably come in up under here and slide a thin, low profile pan, and you could push that down and drain it straight into it, but it would be considerably easier if the drain tube was just longer. Super easy access to the battery right here to change it. This is a protective plate. These look like 3/8, maybe 7/16 nylon bolts, nylon nuts, and then this plate just comes off and you swap the battery out if you ever need to. Pretty easy. You can see this just pops down like that. Easy access to your fuses. Here's the fuel tank. Now you come right here, here's the hydraulic filter. I'm assuming this one filter runs the entire thing. You can see we've got a extra hydraulic controls over here that runs the unit in the front for the additional attachments. I am assuming that this same system or same filter runs the hydros for the drive system. If that is the case, then obviously that would be super easy to get to and super easy to change. So I don't see any additional hydraulic filters, but if you follow the lines from up here, they do go down to the hydraulic pumps on the wheel motors. So I feel like that one filter over there supplies the entire system. So if all that is accurate, and it's something on here that I'm not seeing, as far as basic oil change, of course sharpening the blades, you jack the front end of the mower up, whatever way you feel best, and sharpen them and put the blades back on. Hydraulic filter, blades, battery, oil, pretty easy. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 on the ease of maintenance. If that drain tube for the oil would have been longer, I would give this a 10, hands down. But that's a little bit of a headache, and I still am gonna stick to my guns. I think these manufacturers need to offer in a package, and this mower may come with it, I don't know. But if it doesn't, they need to offer an extension tube or just a longer tube coming off the block to help you make your oil changes a lot easier. So next category, ingenuity. That is the controls, the layout, the ease of use, functionality, ergonomics, how easy it is to get to everything. And you know, when I'm in the cockpit, I like minimal effort. I'm a big fan of the controls being laid out straight across the back right here, but you can see the Toro has everything out front. Instead of being back here, it's out front, which I find to be pretty easy to get to, simply because they're all right here in a straight line. What I don't like is when these manufacturers stick things down in between the handlebars, and you have to fish in between them and go under and over top and all that jazz, you know what I'm saying? So I find the layout right here to be super easy. Throttle, key, PTO, park and brake, and even your controls for the front system for the different attachments is right here at your thumbs. I mean, you can literally, while operating the machine, going forwards and back, you can literally use your two pointer fingers to control the function up front. So the layout, I gotta give it a 9.5. This layout is very, very simple and easy to get to. And oh, by the way, here's your hydraulic refill at, in case you ever need to add some hydraulic fluid in here. It simply goes in this little tank right here. So I have fairly decent sized hands. I find the ergonomics to be good. I don't think they're over the top great, by no means. I like to operate a stand-on mower with the palm of my hands and the inside of my thumbs. And then the front bar here typically rides in the bend of my fingers there. And even though I got decent sized hands, I find I have to stretch a little bit to get to the front bar. So if you're someone that has small hands, this is probably going to be a little bit more uncomfortable for you. Now once you get going and you in a forward motion, of course you shorten that length a little bit, and it becomes like any other machine. It fits my hands very well, but it's just that initial purchase and get going that's kind of a little bit uncomfortable for me. So the ergonomics, how everything feels in my hands. This is a foam padded right here on my height adjustment, which is very comfortable. The same for the parking brake. I find that to be a very comfortable feel. Some of the machines, this is just pure metal right here, and it has texture, and it's just a little bit rough on your hands, but this is super soft and super comfortable. So as far as the ergonomics goes, I'm going to give it a score of a 9. So the ease of use kind of plays into the layout. The one thing I don't like about this system is it's like you have to have a combination to start it, okay? This is where your safety is at, right here. By chance, if you just rest your arm here and go to start the machine, it won't start. This has to be up in order for it to start. But I'm just not a fan of that. I personally prefer the safety to be in the foot platform. Okay, that's just me. I know that to each his own. Your opinion may be different, and I respect that 100%. As far as comfort goes, I find it to be pretty comfortable. These look to be maybe like 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 inch tubing right here. I find that my hand swallows it pretty good. You know, if I had personal preference, I would like for this to be just a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger, just so it fit my hands better. But overall, the comfort's not too bad. And again, I think that's going to differ with different people. You know, we all have different body shapes and sizes. All of our hands are different shapes and sizes, and that's just something you need to go to a dealer and get on the machine and physically touch it and see how it fits you. But for me, the comfort's pretty good, so I'm gonna call that a 9. Now the height of cut adjustment ease is very simple. You can see you've got all your different increments right here, and the pin just kind of comes out, goes in, pretty standard. You pull back, push the button, and drop forward. I do find this to be pretty heavy. I mean, you got to really muscle that thing to get it back. It does lock into place back here. Now once you push it down, you can't pull it back. So if you're going across bumpy terrain, the deck is not going to bounce up and down on you. The deck's going to stay put. It does not have the feature to where you can pull back and let go and it lock without setting this pin. Some of the machines do that. This one doesn't. You have to actually pull it all the way back and lock it into place. Height of cut adjustment ease. This thing is pretty dang heavy. Although it does have a helper spring up there, it doesn't help a whole lot. So height of cut adjustment ease, I'm going to give it a score of an 8. Fuel tank is one centered fuel tank inside the body of the machine. The fuel cap is over here to the left, and you know I like either a center fuel tank or dual fuel tanks, one on each side, so that kind of balances out the machine. And I mean, I like this, that it's kind of tucked up in here out of the way. It actually gives you room on the outsides to come up and dream up of something else you can add on to the machine. Next category is a favorite of most folks, is battle of the blades. That's height of cut range, how accurate is the height of cut, cut quality, how well does it side discharge, and how well it stripes. Let's go over here to the carport right quick and we'll look at the height of cut and then the accuracy of that. So here we are under the deck of the Toro, and what I'm looking for is one, stripe system. There's none back here. And two, I'm just looking for something unique or something different about under the deck. And what I'm seeing is a pretty standard deck. You can't look at it and tell this is a used mower. It does have low hours on it, but as far as the deck goes, I'm not really seeing anything that, you know, kind of stands out that's super unique about it. We've got that long leading edge right here that we've seen on a few machines. Basic design back here, nothing really unique or special there. Considerably less gap right here than some of the mowers that we've seen, and you know, honestly, I don't know if that makes a massive difference one way or the other on cut quality and discharge and vacuum and all that. I'm not an engineer, so I don't really get into that all that much, but I just have noticed that some of the designs, there's a much more gap right here on some mowers versus the others. So pretty standard looking deck up under here. So we'll see how it cuts, and you know, that always tells the story. Yeah, I can sit up under this deck and tell you all I want to about it and how it's standard and nothing special and unique and blah 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 blah, but at the end of the day, what matters is how well it cuts. So here on the height of cut, we go from 5 all the way down to 1.5. So let's check this one at 2, 3, 4, and 5. And when we get down here, we're actually cutting about 1 3/4. And we'll come up here to setting 3. And we're actually cutting a smidgen over 2.5. And we go to setting 4, and we're just a smidgen above 3.5, and we'll see if it'll cut a true 5 inches, and that's about 4 3/4. Now, one thing I think I missed while I was in there is that this baffle system. You can see right here, wet grass, if you're bagging the material, or dry grass, you can actually adjust this by unscrewing the knob and then adjusting that baffle for different mowing conditions. So it's been a little time in between when I recorded the garage footage and now. So I'm gonna put the score of the height of cut accuracy on the screen right here, simply because I can't remember how good or how bad it was. So cut quality. I find that this machine cuts extremely good. It just cuts very tight. What I do is when I mow in between the tire tracks where there's the tires aren't laying the grass down and affecting the cut in any way, right in the middle, looking for scragglers, and those are little pieces of grass sticking up that get missed. And of course we mowed in all the same conditions. Everything, the grass was dry to the touch across the board, and I found very, very few scragglers. I also found that it cut just as good top speed as it did slow. So cut quality, I got to give it a 9.5. It cuts that good. Side discharge, I had no issues with it. I had a good clean leading edge coming out the front, and it just kind of tapered out everything, kind of fluffed everything out. I did find that when I got in some deeper grass over there behind my father-in-law's house, is where the septic system is. So typically that turf is about twice as deep as the rest of the yard at any given time of the year, simply because it's feeding off the septic system. When I did get to that point in mowing that area, I did get a little bit of chunkiness, a little bit of chunks kind of spitting out, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad by no means. But you know, you do have to keep in mind that grass was literally about twice as tall as the rest of the yard. So with all things into consideration, the side discharge, I'm going to give it a score of a 9. Yes, the machine stripes very well. You can see this is the remnants of the stripes from 7 days ago. I just got back from a mini vacation with my wife. She and I have been married for 20 years. And so we got away and had a little celebration for that. And it's been 7 days since I cut the yard, and you can still see the stripes pretty good. So yes, the machine stripes very well, and I'm going to give it a score of a 9 on striping capabilities. So the next category is smooth operator. That is going to talk about the comfort and ride quality. Comfort and ride quality are two different things. Ride quality is how well the machine rides across a yard, uneven terrain, if it's bumpy, wobbly, bouncy, rough. Comfort is how you feel in the cockpit while it's running across an uneven yard. Ride quality on the machine is pretty bad. I found it to be super bouncy on the front end, meaning when you hit the slightest little bit of bounce, the front end wants to bounce quite a bit. You know, we've talked about this already with pretty much every machine we went through. The ride quality on these stand-ons need to improve. You're out there all day long, mowing, hot summer, and it's just, you want something that's going to ride good and not beat you up too bad. Personally, I think these manufacturers should take some of their marketing budget they spend on advertising their machines and put it into research and development, and try to come up with some type of a suspension type system for the stand-on machine specifically, and see if we can't get these machines to ride a little bit better. Ride quality, I'm gonna give it a 7. It rides pretty rough. The comfort's pretty good. It's not by all my favorite, but I would say that it does compensate for the lack of ride quality. It's got a really big, nice, wide platform back there, which I like. I wear a size 13 boot, so I need a lot of space back there for my shoes. One thing I did find, that this platform sets me up in the air a little bit higher than I would like to be, so I find myself having to kind of reach down for the controls. So if you're a taller guy, I'm 6'1", So if you're a taller guy, then that's going to even be more of an issue for you, because you're up so high, you're going to have to reach down. And then when you're mowing all day like that, it gets to be a little bit uncomfortable. So I found that if I spread my feet out, that shortens me by a couple of inches, and it was a little bit more comfortable for me that way. So as far as the comfort goes on the machine, I'm gonna give it an 8. It's not so bad that it's just I don't like it at all, but it's also not you know, this is great. It's not that thing. It's kind of middle of the road on comfort, so I'm gonna give it a score of an 8. So next category is the horsepower category, and this is a fuel injected engine. It's a Kohler Command Pro ECV 749 EFI. I don't see a horsepower rating, 747 cc, so you know, I don't know what the horsepower rating is on it, but I did find that it doesn't lack. It has plenty of power. I am assuming that they have the bigger EFI motor on here because of the extra hydraulics and the attachments you can run out front. That's really the only thing I can figure that why they put this motor on this particular machine. Now, you know, the motor and the hydraulics kind of go hand in hand. So we'll talk about the feel and sensitivity and responsiveness of the hydraulic system. And you know that I am a touchy-feely hydraulics guy. If I move the hydraulic controls a millimeter, I want the arm or the wheel or whatever it is I'm commanding to respond to it, and I want it to respond immediately. Some people call those style hydraulics a little bit jumpy and too touchy-feely sensitive, but that's what I prefer. I find that these the responsiveness is a little bit lacking, meaning there's a little bit of lag when I command the machine to go forward. It takes it a minute before it actually goes forward. Really find that to be true when I'm in reverse. You know, when I'm coming to the end of a run and I'm making a turn and I'm twisting my tires opposite direction, it's a little bit sluggish and a little bit slow to do that, to respond to what I'm telling you. The response in this category, I'm gonna give it a score of an 8. Sensitivity, you know, when you're in motion and you're making these subtle, when you're in motion and you're making these small subtle changes, you know, whether you're going around beds or in and out of areas like that, I find the sensitivity to be pretty good. I don't find it to be super touchy-feely, but I did find it to be just enough. If they're not sloppy hydraulics by no means, but they're not quite as sensitive as I prefer them, but they do have a certain level of sensitivity that demands some respect, because it to a certain point they are fairly sensitive once you get the machine rolling and once you're in a forward motion, and then while in that forward motion you're wanting to go left or right, they respond pretty good. So for that reason, I'll give it a score of a 9. Now the feel of the hydraulics, they're a little bit mushy to me. They're a little bit soft. I like hydraulics that are very immediate in reaction, and these I find to be a little bit softer, a little bit mushy, but like I said, once you get going, they're much more responsive. I think it's that initial grab and go is where I get a little bit of lag, and I think some of that can be fixed with the linkage. If you wanted to adjust the linkage to fit your needs or how you like the hydraulic system to respond, you can probably do that. But for me personally, I would give the feel of the hydraulics a score of a 7.5. So overall, the hydraulic system isn't too terribly bad. You know, it's not my ideal hydraulic system setup. A little bit soft, a little bit mushy, a little bit slow to respond, but once you get the machine in motion, the responsiveness is there, and it does very well. I can't stress this enough. Just because you may get the impression that I'm not a big fan of a hydraulic system doesn't mean that you won't be a big fan of it. That's personal preference, okay? I'm not the guy who's going to say everyone in the world should like a specific hydraulic system. That's ludicrous to say that, because we each have our own thing that we like as far as hydraulics goes. And for me, I'm not a big fan of this type of system because it is a little bit soft and a little bit slow to respond and a little bit mushy, whereas some of the machines I've been on are very sensitive, very to the point, very precise in obeying what I want the machine to do, and that's more along the lines of the type of hydraulic system I like. So here's your fun category. It's Hold My Sun Drop, and this is a non-scoring category. I'm looking for a cup holder. I'm looking for somewhere to put a drink, a water, or something, and it's not here. It's just Toro. You got tons of room all over the place. Put as a cup holder on this machine. So at this point in time, it's not looking like we're going to do the torture test like I had said in previous videos, and I apologize for that. Time is just running out, and these manufacturers are wanting their machines back, and I need to be respectful of that. And the will it stick hillside mowing, that's kind of a 50-50 thing. Trying my best to create some time to be able to take all 14 mowers out to the shooting range and get this hillside mowing review done. So keep your fingers crossed. It might happen, but then again, if it don't be disappointed. So last thing, the verdict. This is a good mower. All in all, this is a good mower. I think the one thing about the machine that stands out to me, well, there's two things. This is a very good cutting machine. The cut quality is absolutely there. It cuts phenomenally, but I think the one thing that does stand out to me, it goes back to my one word, is versatility. That's really neat that you can take a mower and put different attachments on it and do different jobs with it. I've watched some of the YouTube videos where folks use this thing for moving snow up north, and it looks like it does a pretty dang good job. I give Toro 100% respect on this for the ingenuity side of that and the creativity. After using this mower and reading up on it and seeing all the different things it can do, I think some of the other manufacturers ought to go after this and start creating a platform on a specific mower, just like Toro did, to come up with a way to use different implements with the machine. So from an efficiency and a money standpoint, I think that's a pretty good deal. So that is my take on the Toro Grandstand Multiforce. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Tell all your buddies. You can go back through and watch 13 other videos that will highlight a bunch of different mowers and kind of this same point system, point style review. And at the end of the day, I really hope that this helps your business in some way or the other, as far as helping you decide which machine is going to best fit your company. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.